Smith. Coming hard is Richards. Here is a closing burst by Quincy Hall. At the tape, Hall is going to get it.
Quincy Hall was supposed to be the name redefining the 400 meters, a reigning Olympic champion with speed, confidence, and momentum. But then, quietly, the story shifted. What happened next has left fans stunned and the track world asking, what went wrong? Hall stormed to Olympic gold in Paris with a breathtaking 43.4, and many believe they were witnessing the rise of the next dominant 400-meter force. Just a year later, that momentum has stalled. In a shocking twist, the Olympic champion withdrew from the 2025 USATF Outdoor Championships without ever setting foot on the track. The reason? A hamstring injury that couldn't have come at a worse time. Hall, who dazzled with his late-race explosiveness and controlled surges, has not competed since his victory at the Rome Diamond League on June 6. That race, where he edged out Zakithi Nene in a narrow but impressive finish, now stands as a high point, and potentially the final chapter of his 2025 season. Hall's time in Rome, 44.22, wasn't just a season best. It was a showcase of timing, patience, and strategic racing, the kind of performance that sets up a world championship run. Or so everyone thought.
To get to this point.
No, it's just me. I've been working hard. I only had, like I said, my first week I only had 8 weeks in the show. But one thing when I got back to the hotel, I realized my weight. I was 159 before I ran that race. Now I'm 170, 171.
He was scheduled to compete at the Prefontaine Classic on July 5, but the day before, he quietly pulled out. No explanation, no press release, no public comment, just silence. Speculation started to build. Was Hall injured? Playing it safe? Was there more going on? The answer finally emerged from his agent, John Regis, who confirmed to reporters on July 31 that Hall had been dealing with a hamstring injury since before Prefontaine. Unfortunately, it hasn't responded to treatment as well as we would have liked, Regis explained. The best way for him was not to compete, because I don't think he would have put in a performance that Quincy wanted. The implications were immediate. By not competing at USA's, Hall automatically lost his shot at a guaranteed spot on Team USA for the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo. It was a brutal blow for a man who had won Olympic gold and claimed bronze at the 2023 World Championships. The champion found himself on the outside looking in. But the story doesn't end there. Regis hinted at a possible redemption arc. Despite his absence from USA's, Hall wasn't entirely out of the World Championships picture. Under World Athletics rules, the Diamond League winner in each discipline receives an automatic berth. Ranked 8th in the standings at the time, Hall was barely eligible for the Diamond League final that took place on August 28 Zurich. One more race, one more shot, one more comeback. But even that hope proved uncertain. As the season progressed, it became clear that Hall's injury wouldn't allow him to compete. He ultimately missed the Diamond League final and any chance at securing that wildcard berth to the World Championships. Hall's season went from promising to precarious, and ultimately to incomplete. His name was conspicuously missing from the USATF entries when the deadline passed, prompting confusion and concern. With Regis confirming the injury, the world finally knew why, but that hasn't made it easier for fans who watched their champion's season slip away. Meanwhile, the 400 meters world moved on, and fast. At the World Championships in Tokyo, the men's 400 meters final delivered a brand new chapter. Botswana's 2 one-year-old Busang Collen Kebinatshipi stunned the field with a world-leading 43.53, a personal best that obliterated his previous mark and secured his nation's first-ever men's world title. In a changing of the guard moment, Kebinatshipi's breakout run not only captured gold but redefined the competitive landscape. Botswana had 3 men in the final and walked away with 2 medals. Bayapo Ndori claimed bronze with a season's best of 44.2, showing that Botswana is no longer just emerging, it's a powerhouse. Silver went to veteran Jeremy Richards of Trinidad and Tobago, who set a national record of 43.72 from the notoriously tough inside lane. His final push in the last 50 meters nearly stole the race and reminded everyone that experience still counts. But missing from all of this? Quincy Hall. The Olympic champion never even got to Tokyo. His spot was overtaken by injury and a wave of hungry new talents. Athletes like Kebinatshipi, Richards, and Ndori took full advantage of the vacuum left by Hall and other top names like Matthew Hudson-Smith, Muzala Samukanga, and South Africa's Zakithi Nene, who faded late despite entering Tokyo with the season's fastest time. This wasn't just a race, it was a reshaping of the 400 meters hierarchy. And perhaps the most painful part? This was supposed to be his year. After peaking in Paris, medaling in Budapest, and beginning 2025 with measured performances, his trajectory looked like a straight shot to Tokyo dominance. He was the man to beat, and then, in an instant, he was gone. In Rome, Hall gave fans a glimpse of what could have been. He showed control, easing off the final curve, surging when it mattered, and holding off a charging Nene by 1/100th of a second. It was a race that screamed, "I'm ready." But readiness isn't enough when your body says otherwise, and Hall's hamstring made the call. The conversation has now shifted to what's next. Hall watched from the sidelines as the new era of 400 meters sprinting took off without him. The season he envisioned never materialized, replaced instead by a story of what might have been. The track world was split at the time. Some believed Hall should take time to heal, avoid further injury, and aim for next season. Others argued that if he could run, he must, because athletes live for these moments. For Hall, the decision was ultimately made for him by his injury. Meanwhile, Kebinatshipi's rise became one of the year's greatest stories. Barely 21 and long seen as a relay specialist, he now stands atop the world. His journey from semi-final doubt to national hero was fast-tracked in Tokyo. After missing the Olympic final by one place last year, he came back stronger. His coach reminded him before the semis, "This is your time to shine." And shine he did. Hall's absence allowed stories like these to take center stage. Even Jackery Patterson of the US, who reached the final despite training while working at UPS, became a fan favorite. His journey from warehouse floors to the world's biggest track was inspiring, even if he finished 7th. So what happens next for Quincy Hall? His 2025 season ended with Rome as the only chapter, a beautiful chapter but a lonely one. The good news? He's still only 26. There's time. He has talent, experience, and championship pedigree that doesn't fade overnight. But injuries are unforgiving, and in track and field, the margins are razor thin. One missed race can change everything. One injury can reset a career. Hall once said, "You are going to see something. I want to be the best." Those words carry weight now. They feel like a promise, not just to the world, but to himself. As he looks toward recovery and the future, the question remains whether he'll get the chance to fulfill it. The 400 meters world has witnessed a changing of the guard. New champions have emerged. The competitive landscape has shifted. But for Quincy Hall, the race isn't over. He's not just fighting to get back on track, he's preparing for his comeback. And when he returns, the clock will be ticking once again.
Coming wide for Portugal! Neither for Portugal! From Lyman on the line! What a run! What a finish!
This underestimated runner from Portugal just shocked the entire track world. Isaac Nader looked up at the scoreboard in Tokyo, and his face showed pure disbelief. He had just beaten some of the best 1,500-meter runners on the planet, and even he couldn't believe what he'd done. The 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo gave us one of the craziest races in track and field history. And trust me, the men's 1,500 meters has seen some wild finishes. But what happened on that hot September night? Nobody saw it coming. Let me take you back to the starting line. 14 men stood ready to race. Big names, past champions, rising stars, and then there was Isaac Nader from Portugal. Most people watching had no idea who he was. He was ranked 8th in the world. He had never won a medal at any major championship, ever, not even as a junior. The odds of him winning? 50-1. That's the kind of number you see on a horse nobody thinks will finish the race. But here's the thing about Isaac Nader. He believed in himself when nobody else did. Before the race, he told himself something simple but powerful. I was either going to finish 14th or I was going to finish 1st. No middle ground, all or nothing. Now, to understand just how crazy this victory was, we need to talk about who wasn't there and what went wrong for the favorites. The field was missing some huge names. Yared Nuguse from America won bronze at the Paris Olympics just a year before. He didn't even make it to Tokyo because he finished 5th at the US Championships. Then there's Jakob Ingebrigtsen from Norway. This guy won Olympic gold in this exact stadium back in 2021. He's a superstar, but he got hurt. His Achilles was bothering him all summer. He tried to race in Tokyo and didn't even make it out of the first round. Gone, just like that. And Cole Hawker, he shocked the world by winning gold in Paris. But in Tokyo, he got disqualified in the semifinals. The officials said he pushed and jostled another runner on the home straight. So he was out too. That left Josh Kerr from Great Britain as the big favorite. Kerr was the defending world champion from 2023. He got silver in Paris. He was strong, confident, and ready. Before the final, he even warned everyone to prepare for a real battle for whoever wants to come and take it off me. He looked relaxed on the starting line, all smiles, but his body had other plans. About 900 meters into the race, something went wrong. Kerr started hopping, then grimacing. His calf seized up. You could see the pain on his face. He kept running, but he was done. He finished dead last, more than 30 seconds behind the other runners. He couldn't even walk up the steps to talk to reporters after the race. It was heartbreaking to watch a champion go down like that. With Kerr struggling, everyone turned their attention to Niels Laros. This 20-year-old kid from the Netherlands was having an amazing season. He had the fastest time in the world in 2025. He won races in Brussels and Zurich with this incredible finishing kick. When he sprinted at the end, nobody could catch him. He was the new favorite. Young, fast, and hungry. But championship racing is different. The pressure is different. And sometimes what works in regular races doesn't work when the whole world is watching. The other big name in the race was Jake Whiteman from Great Britain. Now, Jake's story deserves its own movie. He won the World Championship back in 2022 inches Eugene. But then everything fell apart. In 2023, he fractured his foot. In 2024, he tore his calf, then his hamstring. That ruled him out of the Paris Olympics. Then, in February 2025, he tore his meniscus and needed surgery. Jake is 31 years old. That's old for a middle-distance runner. And he wasn't just dealing with little injuries. These were big ones, 2 months out each time. He said it felt like he had PTSD from all the breakdowns. He would start feeling a little problem and think, here we go again, my season is over. He made a huge decision. He stopped being coached by his dad, Jeff, after 15 years. That had to be hard. He moved from London to Manchester. His new coach? John Hardigan, who happens to be the father of his fiancée, Georgie. They completely changed his training. Fewer miles, more cross-training, less intense sessions. Something that was broken started to work again. But even Jake didn't know if he could still compete at the top level. On the bus going to the heats, he told himself that if he didn't make it through, he was done, finished, retired. The self-doubt was eating him alive. Am I going to be able to do any more in my career? He wondered. I'm 31 years old, am I past it? Then something special happened. In the heats and semifinals, Jake felt like himself again. His fiancée even went to a shrine in Tokyo and got him a good luck cat. His new coach gave it to him during warm-ups. Jake thought, this is heading towards something special. The race started slow, really slow. Laros went to the front early. Timothy Cheruiyot from Kenya, the 2019 world champion, was up there too. Kerr stayed in the middle of the pack. Everything looked calm. Then, around 800 meters in, the Kenyan runners made a move. Timothy Cheruiyot and his teammate Reynold Cheruiyot pushed the pace. The pack started to split, and that's when Kerr's calf gave out. He fell to the back, hopping along in pain. The race was wide open now. Anyone could win. As they came to the bell for the last lap, Timothy Cheruiyot led the pack. Laros was right there. Whiteman positioned himself perfectly. Kerr was way back, barely jogging. With 200 meters to go, Whiteman made his move. He charged from third place to first. It was the exact same move he used to win gold in 2022. Power, confidence, speed. He came around the final turn and took the lead. Laros couldn't respond. His famous finishing kick never showed up. He started fading. Whiteman pumped his arms toward the finish line. His dad, Jeff, was announcing the race over the stadium speakers, just like he did when Jake won in 2022. Jeff was thinking, this is it. My son is about to become the first man ever to win back the world title, the only one in this era to win two. Jake was running the perfect race. With 50 meters to go, he looked like he had it won. Then, out of nowhere, a blur of red and green came flying down the outside lane. Isaac Nader. He had been sitting in 5th place, way out wide. Nobody was paying attention to him. But in the last 100 meters, he put everything on the line. He ran that final stretch in just 12.28 seconds. Whiteman ran it in 12.9. Both were flying, but Nader was faster. Nader later said, in the last 100, I fully believed in myself. I knew Jake would be fighting until the end, so I went all in for a dive. But it was the first time in his career he had ever done a diving finish. But he wasn't about to lose a world title by being careful. I couldn't risk losing a world title, he said. Clearly, it paid off in the end. The two men hit the line almost together. Whiteman stumbled and crashed to the ground. Everyone looked at the scoreboard. The numbers came up. First place, Isaac Nader, Portugal, 3 minutes 34.10 seconds. Second place, Jake Whiteman, Great Britain, 3 minutes 34.12 seconds, 0.02 of a second. That's less time than it takes to blink. That's all that separated gold from silver. When Nader saw his name at the top of the board, he couldn't believe it. Inacreditável, he shouted in Portuguese. Unbelievable.
Way, got a pretty good start count. Quickly picks up Howard behind him, and then out wide at Kelly. How quick will he be? He's stretching away now. Isn't he beautiful to watch? He did switch off. Oh boy, oh boy.
At just 17 years old, Australian sprinter Gout has done something that few thought possible. He's brought world-class sprinting energy to Australian athletics and sent shockwaves through the global track community. Still in high school, the Queensland teenager has already rewritten national records, clocked wind-assisted sub-10 seconds in the 100 meters, and crushed long-standing 200 meters marks that stood for over half a century. The whispers are already out there. Is this Australia's answer to Usain Bolt? It was a warm evening in Perth when Gout, then just a 17-year-old, lined up for the Australian U20 National Championships. Within seconds of the starter's gun, he stormed down the track, crossing the line in 9.99 seconds, not once, but twice in the same day. While the wind readings 3.5 meters per second and 2.6 meters per second made the times ineligible as official records, they announced something undeniable. Australia had found its next sprinting phenomenon. After his win, Gout grinned and thumped his chest. "That's what I was hoping for," he told reporters. "I didn't get the start I anticipated. It was the kind of confidence mixed with humility that hinted at greatness." That same weekend, he went on to dominate the senior men's 200 meters, smashing Peter Norman's legendary 1,968 national record with a run of 20.04 seconds. The mark had stood untouched for 56 years. Months later, in Ostrava, Czech Republic, Gout bettered it again, 20.02 seconds, in his first ever senior international race. In Ostrava, the young Australian looked calm beyond his years. Running against seasoned professionals, Gout exploded out of the curve and powered down the straight, finishing nearly 0.2 of a second ahead of Cuba's Renier Mena. Britain's Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake, an Olympic medalist, was left trailing in third. Afterward, Gout smiled and told Reuters, "I feel good. New personal best, new national record in my first European race. I don't feel any pressure. Once I'm on the track, it's just me and what I've got to do, my favorite thing, and that's to run." In that moment, it wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Gout had become the fastest 7-year-old in Australia's history, and one of the most promising young sprinters in the world. Born in Ipswich, Queensland in December 2007, Gout is one of 7 children to Dinka parents who fled war-torn South Sudan before settling in Australia. His family's story is one of survival, resilience, and hope. His father, Bona, recalled the name Gout was a transliteration error when the family moved through Egypt, a mistake that stuck but now represents excellence on the world stage. Growing up, Gout played soccer before switching to track, a decision that changed everything. By 14, he had already broken Australian age group records in the 100 meters and 200 meters. By 15, he was clocking 20.87 for 200 meters, earning the Australian U18 title and his first trip overseas for the World U20 Championships in Lima, where he claimed silver in the 200 meters. By 16, he was setting Oceanian U20 records and signing a sponsorship deal with Adidas. The kid from Ipswich had officially become a professional athlete, without even graduating high school. Gout's performances in 2024 hinted at something special, but 2025 made it undeniable. In April, he lined up at the Australian National Championships in Perth. Despite 2 false starts and a nervous atmosphere, he blasted to a 19.84 second 200 meters, only to see the wind reading plus 2.2 meters per second erase its legality. Still, he smiled, saying, "It's definitely frustrating. I run fast times, but the wind is not on my side. Hopefully one day the wind will be great." It was more than optimism, it was prophecy. Just weeks later, in Europe, he delivered the legal 20.02 that shattered expectations once again. His new mark not only broke his own national record, but also the Oceanian record, placing him among the top teenage sprinters in world history. At only 17, Gout has achieved what most athletes dream of their entire lives. To put it in perspective, by his age, even Usain Bolt hadn't yet run faster. When the World Athletics Championships began in Tokyo in September 2025, all eyes were on the teenager from Queensland.